The controversy did not begin with Prince William, King Charles, or Palace Plot. It began with Prince Harry's own words. On July 7, 2026, Harry detonated the charge a prince should never place in public. Justice Fancourt of the High Court had delivered an obvious whitewash. In one sentence, he did not merely attack a ruling. He struck at the ancient idea of the king's justice while still belonging to the constitutional circle empowered to act for the king himself. Harry was no ordinary private citizen. He remained one of the Counsellors of State, one of only 7 figures tied to machinery that can carry sovereign authority when the monarch is absent or unable to act. The same man accusing the king's courts of corruption was still positioned to sign documents, accept ambassadors, and attend Privy Council meetings in the king's name. That was a constitutional trap snapping shut in public. To understand the palace silence, one must understand the sacred chain Harry appeared to challenge. Britain does not operate like America's clean separation of powers. For 1,000 years, justice has been rooted in the crown. The king's bench, the king's peace, judges serving the crown, and judgments issued in the monarch's name form one delicate structure. When Harry accused Justice Fancourt of being complicit in a cover-up to protect a media empire, he placed a wrench inside that structure. Then came the question nobody inside Whitehall or Buckingham Palace could comfortably answer. The Daily Mail's Richard Eden asked how Charles could allow Harry to continue as a national counselor. That question did not need shouting. Constitutional researchers reportedly described it as a category error inside Britain's unwritten constitution, a Counsellor of State publicly repudiating the judiciary he might be required to represent. Suddenly, Harry was not simply disappointed by a court decision. He was making himself impossible to explain. For King Charles, the crisis was cruel because his strategy had seemed to be silent confinement, not open combat. He had watched the Sussex problem drip damage into his reign while avoiding a direct strike against his younger son. But Harry's statement changed everything. A private legal grievance became an institutional legitimacy crisis. Charles the father could hesitate. Charles the king could not pretend that a prince empowered to act for the crown had suggested the crown's legal system could be corrupt. The palace had weapons, and everyone had seen one used before. Between October 30 and November 3, 2025, Prince Andrew's public status collapsed as titles and patronages were stripped away. Letters patent became the monarchy's guillotine. Fast, surgical, devastating, that precedent now hovered over Harry's His Royal Highness style. A stroke of royal power could formalize what had already happened in practice, and the rumored future King William would have no hesitation about using it. But the real problem was colder than an roach. The Counsellor of State role was not a decoration Charles could simply snatch back. It came from the Regency Act 1937, not personal favor. The monarch's spouse and the next 4 adults in succession were placed there by law, meaning removal required Parliament. Parliament was the slow machine nobody wanted to start. A Prince Harry bill would invite global criticism and drag royal family dirt across the House of Commons. The Constitution Unit at University College London had warned that government appetite for such legislation was low. That weakness had been exposed in 2022 when the palace and government faced the awkward spectacle of Andrew and Harry, 2 non-working royals, still potential stand-ins for the sovereign. The compromise was the Counsellors of State Act 2022, expanding the pool to include Princess Anne and Prince Edward. To the public, it looked like Harry had been shelved. But the language told a cautious story. Existing councillors were not removed. Working royals were simply added. It was institutional fudge covering a defect. Harry's July 7 outburst blew through that fudge like a match in dry paper. An understanding not to call on him meant little once he attacked the institution he was still legally connected to serve. The defect remained alive, ticking toward 2039, when Prince Louis turns 21 and can naturally replace him. Until then, Harry could remain technically qualified for 13 more years, even after alleging that the king's courts were corrupt. For Prince William, this was not brotherly irritation. It was an institutional vulnerability inside his reign. And then, the story turned darker. Because the palace may not need Parliament at all. Buried inside the same Regency Act was a quieter constitutional off-switch: domicile. Anyone who ceases to be domiciled in the United Kingdom is not qualified to be a Counsellor of State. Residence is not domicile. Domicile means permanent legal home, the country one belongs to forever. Harry's origin domicile was Britain. But in February 2026, his lawyers reportedly filed paperwork stating his principal residence was the United States, backdated to June 2023, after Harry and Meghan were evicted from Frogmore Cottage. If that proves settled American intention, Harry's signature may have done what Charles and William never needed to do. If Harry's February 2026 filing truly established the United States as his permanent domicile, then the constitutional battle may already be over without a single dramatic palace announcement. There would be no explosive press conference, no humiliating public dismissal, and no bitter confrontation between King Charles and his younger son. Instead, the law itself would quietly finish what years of royal tension began. The remarkable twist is that the decisive document would not come from Buckingham Palace. It would carry Prince Harry's own authority through paperwork submitted by his own legal team after Frogmore Cottage, the Sussex's last official residence in the United Kingdom, was surrendered. The institution Harry has spent years challenging may simply acknowledge what he already declared himself. That possibility completely changes the balance of power inside the monarchy. For years, critics assumed Prince William would eventually need to launch an aggressive campaign to remove Harry from every remaining constitutional connection to the crown. Yet, if the domicile clause applies exactly as written under the Regency Act 1937, William would not need to force anything. Harry's signature would become the mechanism that quietly removed his final constitutional function. Palace insiders reportedly see this as the ultimate irony. The brother expected to deliver the final blow may only have to watch as constitutional procedure completes the process naturally. The consequences stretch far beyond legal technicalities because every constitutional tie has commercial weight. Ever since Harry and Meghan relocated to California, their public identity has rested upon one central asset: an active connection to the House of Windsor. According to Radar Online, one source described that asset as royal magic. That invisible commodity helped distinguish the Sussexes from every other celebrity couple. It was reportedly part of the attraction behind Netflix, helped define their Spotify era, and separated their brand from Hollywood personalities with far longer entertainment careers. The constitutional relationship itself became part of the product being marketed worldwide. But products built upon royal status require an uninterrupted link to the institution. Every constitutional separation weakens that connection. First, the couple stopped using their roach styles in practice. Then came continuing discussion that King William could eventually formalize the removal of the Croatia style through letters patent, following the precedent already demonstrated during Prince Andrew's collapse between October 30 and November 3, 2025. The Dukedom of Sussex presents a different challenge, because removing a peerage requires Parliament. Yet through all those debates, one constitutional relationship still remained untouched: Harry's legal position as Counsellor of State. If the domicile clause has already disqualified him automatically, the strongest remaining argument that he still occupies a meaningful constitutional role disappears overnight. Brand experts quoted in the discussion described the danger in blunt terms. Modern royalty depends upon more than famous names or global recognition. Without constitutional responsibilities, without working royal duties, and with formal titles continuously under question, the image inevitably changes. The fascination shifts from representing the monarchy to simply having once belonged to it. That transition may sound symbolic, but symbols are precisely what generate value in the public marketplace. Financial pressure only increases the stakes. The narrative points toward Prince Harry's unsuccessful legal action, substantial legal costs, and an individual financial exposure reportedly exceeding $3 million following the costs hearing. It also references the reported end of a significant Netflix relationship in March 2026, adding another layer of uncertainty surrounding the Sussex commercial future. Suddenly, an Old People magazine report from August 2024 appears in an entirely different light. According to that report, Meghan reportedly wanted Harry to let go of the legal battles. If accurate, the advice may not have been emotional at all. It may have reflected commercial instinct, recognizing how difficult it becomes to preserve a brand while simultaneously attacking the institution, supplying that brand's greatest value. Meanwhile, the atmosphere inside Buckingham Palace appears to be changing just as dramatically. Observers increasingly point toward a noticeable shift from King Charles' cautious sentimentality toward Prince William's more uncompromising institutional thinking. Charles reportedly spent years hoping quiet restraint could contain the Sussex crisis. Yet repeated controversies, legal disputes, Interviews, memoirs, and public accusations appear to have gradually altered that calculation. The issue is no longer presented as a painful family disagreement. It is increasingly described as protection of the future reign itself. One courtier reportedly summarized William's position with striking clarity. His determination is presented not as personal revenge, but as institutional preservation. Having witnessed the instability surrounding his parents' divorce and the continuing consequences following the Sussexes' departure, William reportedly believes the monarchy survives only if it becomes smaller, more disciplined, and unquestionably loyal to the crown. From that perspective, California does not simply represent geographical distance. It represents the possibility of a competing royal court supported by American media while continuing to trade upon British royal prestige. History only reinforces that concern. Royal historians have long documented the recurring challenge faced by monarchs: how to protect the crown when members of the royal family become independent centers of influence. The narrative even recalls the Duke of Windsor, whose activities after abdication became an enduring lesson about the dangers of rival royal authority existing beyond palace control. Every generation inherits its own version of that dilemma. William's supporters reportedly believe Harry has become this generation's constitutional vulnerability. That is why July 7, 2026 may ultimately be remembered as something much larger than another angry statement. Harry intended to challenge a court judgment by accusing Justice Fancourt of participating in a whitewash. Instead, according to this narrative, he may have supplied both the justification and the mechanism for permanently ending his final constitutional connection to the crown. The justification came through publicly questioning the king's justice. The mechanism may have arrived months earlier through his own February 2026 domicile filing, backdated to June 2023, after Frogmore Cottage. If those two events become permanently linked, Prince William may never need to launch the constitutional battle many expected. The institution could simply recognize what Harry himself placed on the record. And if that moment has already quietly arrived behind palace walls, the only question left is not whether the curtain will fall, but who will reveal that it already has.